the question is whether China can do this, and I think the answer is they can, but it's clearly not going to be popular. Is there a sense, though, that this is Beijing really losing its patience with Hong Kong's ability to get things under control?
Well, that's fairly clear by now. There's still a shocking trend, but then they decided that they just might be losing control over Hong Kong, and they need to do something, and that's what they're doing. Sorry, can you hear me?
What can Hong Kong do in this situation? Yes, Claudia, I can hear you. Just getting your reaction as to what at this point can pro-democracy lawmakers and other lawmakers like yourself in Hong Kong actually do, because there's a lot of people who are saying this is kind of the final nail in the coffin in terms of any semblance or even any pretense that there is, you know, one country, two systems, because it's very quickly looking like one country and one system.
Well, that's exactly what's happening here, because China perfectly knew that this move might just be considered savage, but they could care less. Ideological control is the most important. They've, in effect, announced the complete jurisdiction over Hong Kong. They can do whatever they want to do. There's not much we can do here, because one country, two systems, and one country comes before two systems. So never mind the two systems. They've made it clear they're bypassing the local legislature in Hong Kong and any legislative procedures here. They just do what they want, and they impose their decree on Hong Kong, putting Hong Kong people under the ruling of separatism, collusion with foreign forces, etc. So we're very passive at the moment. I just cannot see how what we can do to sort of fight back.
Are you expecting at least more protests in Hong Kong?
Although that should be in store. I think that Beijing has been underestimating our young's fear, distrust, and antipathy. And after this, the coronavirus spread, the panic is over. All the protests might just come back in Hong Kong, and as a result, the Hong Kong will be considered, a lost city. It's no longer safe, and it's all being controlled, and whatever's going to happen to our supposed attack of an international financial hub, this marks the end of Hong Kong.
We have seen local media talk about this new measure potentially being compatible with Hong Kong law at the end of the day, that they're saying that the law would only affect a small number of people. What are your thoughts?
They only need to crack down on a small number of people to crack down on dissent here. I mean, after all, who's conducting a revolution here? No such thing. They knew it. It's more like ideological controls, and they're determined to send this chilling effect, this scare element throughout the city, that you'd better be politically correct, or there'll be very, extremely heavy political prices to pay.
Claudia, we've seen the reaction from the US overnight with two senators.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've seen the reaction overnight with the two US senators who are pushing for this punitive bill to punish Beijing if this security law is passed. So are you hopeful that some pressure from the international community might help, or do you see this as Xi Jinping kind of pretty desperate to consolidate his power, and part of that is really pushing forward with the Hong Kong agenda?
I think the Beijing administration has assumed that the international community, the United States in particular, should be too busy dealing with its own problems arising from this virus attack globally. And they're not, well, they knew there will be loads of verbal attacks, but nothing concrete will come out of it. But the thing is, they've also made it clear that there'll be the inclusion of terrorism in this national security law that's going to be slapped on Hong Kong. What terrorism? There's no such thing as terrorism here, except it's so obviously targeted at all the anti-government protests, which has been almost a year now. And the United States would find it very difficult to just stand by idly. And so will there be a U.S.-China Cold War after this? We don't know. But I'm not particularly hopeful of any international kind of help that would better the situation here, because China seems all very determined at the moment. But we still would need at least some moral support